you take in other people's ideas and inspirations. Now you may think it's your own, but it's really you're receiving from the world. Some ideas are yours, but some are not. So how are you supposed to know? So if you're around people that don't support you, that don't love you, that are not guided, you're going to fall into that place and you're going to be a different person. So you kind of chameleon yourself depending on who you're around. People don't like the shadows. They think that something's wrong with them. Shadows are honestly a gift. When you understand your shadows, you can embrace them more and understand, okay, I'm out of alignment, I'm forcing things, I'm comparing myself. The shadows will never go away. So if you feel like you want a certain shadow that you've had all of your life to go away, you're only loving yourself conditionally, because that is a shadow that is there for you. I do. So what I would say that I do is I help people in reconnecting to who they are authentically, rather than living through the conditioning of societal and the societal norms. That's what I would say. Now, I use the different modalities within that because that helps people kind of let go of certain things that they believed were them or were conditioned and they didn't realize it was conditioned. So that's how I use the modalities. But basically what I do is I help people reconnect to who they are and let go of societal norms.
That's beautiful. I didn't know that you do the human design, gene keys, and a few other things. But first, like, I'd love to know, how did you even get into that?
Well, it was a long process. There was a lot of, when I grew up, there's a lot of things that I went through, like a lot. I moved out at 14. There was a lot of toxic things that I told myself. So I had to kind of find myself, right? Because I was really lost. So throughout life, I ended up stumbling later on in life. Like, first of all, my kids, I will say, I feel like gave me the purpose that I needed, because I didn't have purpose within myself. So it's kind of readjusted my life. And then as I got older, I ended up stumbling upon like, first it was the physical stuff with not human design, with personal training. So it was all about, I was a single parent with 2 boys at that time. So I realized it was because I really needed to be strong. I was both people in that, and I had to be strong for the boys. So it was like physical training, strength. Then from there, I found yoga. And I was pregnant with my daughter when I found yoga. So then I went to the more vulnerable time for myself, not just in the external, but slowing down. And that was really the first step in kind of connecting to myself and realizing that I was stuck in the external. After that, I ended up falling into coaching because I realized all of the things that when I taught yoga, because I got trained, I could help them with that aspect, but then I didn't have the questioning to go deeper and for them to reflect and kind of know what's going on within them. So I went to coaching and I got trained in coaching and NLP. And then from there, that is when I found human design. So I was still like teaching yoga. I was coaching people within like the realm of stillness, but I was always thinking like, well, how do I know I'm not making any of this like up in my head? How do I know this is really true?
Yeah.
So I found human design, and at the first time I found it, it was like, no, I'm not ready for it. It took me about a year. And then after I dove into it and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is showing me everything that I already know about myself. So it was kind of like the answer that I asked. Like, this is your story. This is your energy. This is what you're here to learn through. This is where you're conditioned. This is where you like take in your beliefs. So I did a lot of work there. And then I found myself moving from human design to the gene keys because they really work together. And I love the gene keys because it's more of a subtle, I say that human design is like the masculine. It's like the tangible evidence that you can see. I feel like it's evidence that you can see in the map of energy of who you are, who you're not, how to readjust. And then the gene keys goes into it more subtle, where it goes into the shadow. Like these shadows that we experience, like for me, a huge one is inadequacy. So these shadows that show up are not something that's wrong. It's more like you're out of alignment, and it's the awareness of being able to adjust yourself and the way that you're perceiving yourself so that you step more into the gift rather than living in the shadow, which I feel like most of society is living within the shadow
Mm.
aspects and the fear aspects. So then I bring in that so people can understand like the shadows, and when they witness them or experience them, it's not something that's wrong. It's actually a gift. It's a gift in showing, oh, I'm out of alignment. Um, and then I do a little bit, well, a little bit, but I do equine gestalt. And the reason I did that is because I feel like for the people that have a lot of traumas in their life, a lot of people, we hold things in our cells, and we have epigenetics, like we have all of these things within ourselves. So gestalt gives the people that are really wanting to do the deep work the experience of actually like kind of facing those traumas, um expressing and talking to the individual that was part of that trauma, so that you can actually say the things that you never were able to say, or you could even say to them now, but they would defend it, so that you're able to get it out of your cellular DNA. So that, and I feel like for me, that gave me the opportunity to release all of the things I kept, all the traumas, all the beliefs, so that I could clear the space to bring in the new learnings of human design and G keys. So I've kind of recreated myself and let go a lot of the things that happened for me. I will say I do know that every experience was a gift, because I'm very empathetic towards a lot of people, because it's like, thank you for all of these things so I can see where people are coming from, you know? So I feel like my journey in my life has been actually a gift to get me where I'm at now. So I wouldn't change anything at all.
Wow, that's so fascinating. So, I'd love for you to get into human design a bit and what it is, how does it work? What is it about it that helps you figure out these different aspects of yourself?
Oh, there's so much. So I'll start at the top level, and then I'll kind of go a little bit into the deeper levels. So when you put your birth date, time, and place into a body graph, or into a place where it will give you the body graph, you end up getting this picture of this body graph that has shapes. It has these lines, half lines. It has like numbers, and it's very scary to look at, because a lot of people are like, what the heck, I don't even know what any of this is. But when you break it down, it takes in traditional like chakra system, it takes in quantum mechanics, the Chinese I Ching, astrology, and I always forget one. It's so funny. I always forget one. It'll pop up. There's five. That it takes in these different modalities and traditional things of energetics and puts it in one tangible body graph. So this
Oh.
body graph does not change. This body graph is your body graph from the time that you're born. The only thing that changes or shifts is your experiences, or the epigenetics that you're receiving from your family, and that the way that affects your DNA.
Mm.
So this body graph shows you, or it showed me, tangible evidence of like where there's colored in areas. Basically what that means is if a center is colored in, which is they're the shapes, there's 9 centers. If they're colored in, it means you have consistent energy, and it's what you give to the world.
Mm.
It can be any color, because there's different colors. There's red, yellow, black, whatever. And then anywhere that there is white areas in your chart, like it could be a line, a half a line, or it can be a center. Anything that is white, you receive energy from the world. So you have to think, we're giving and receiving always. We're giving and receiving in the environment we're in, with the people we're around. So that's the first thing, giving and
Mm.
receiving energy. Now, the thing that I love about it is you can go into the specificity of things. Like each center has a different type of archetype. So if you have the head center white, it means the head center is the top. There's 9. So if you have the head center white, it means that you take in other people's ideas and inspirations. Now, you may think it's your own, but it's really you're receiving from the world, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go through each one of the centers really quick, and then I'll show you how you can differentiate how you respond for your making the correct decision for yourself.
Okay.
So the head is inspiration ideas. If it's white, it means you receive everything from the external world. Some ideas are yours, but some are not. So how are you supposed to know? Then the ajna is the second one, like the third eye. That's conceptualization, and it means if it's white, it means that you're very open-minded. If you're colored in there, it means that you could be kind of stuck and believing in your beliefs and not opening up to other people's beliefs.
Yeah.
Throat center is like manifestation into the external world. If it's white, a lot of people have trauma here with people not hearing them because it's variable energy, so it's not consistent. So a lot of people seriously do not hear people unless they are looking at them or having a conversation. The G center, which is the one in the center, it's the diamond, is love, direction, and identity. So if that's white, when you're around people, you take in other people's identities and directions. And was a big thing for me because mine is
Wow.
white. You take in other people's identities and other people's direction. So if you're around people that don't support you, that don't love you, that are not guided, you're going to fall into that place and you're going to be a different person. So you kind of chameleon yourself depending on who you're around. That was a huge learning experience for me because I was different people with different people and I didn't understand. I was like, I don't even know myself. So why do I matter? I don't know myself. Then you have
Mm.
on the right side is the emotional solar plexus. When that's white, you take other people's emotions in and amplify them. So you experience anxiety and whatever they're feeling more than they're actually feeling. So then you may think that you are feeling that emotion when in reality it's the other person because you're taking in that energy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then there's the spleen.
Wow.
The spleen, if that is open or undefined, that is like intuition, insight. It's the feel good type of thing. So if you have it open, white, you can feel when people are like sick. You can feel when people are not feeling well. And then you take that in. And you also know when you're not feeling well very easily. Now, if you have that colored in, it takes you a long time to understand if you're sick, which I have that colored in. And then
Yeah.
we have the sacral. The sacral is work and life force. The only ones that have that colored in are the generator types. And I'll go into the types afterwards. It's work and life force. We're kind of the busy builders of the world. We like to create. We like to be in it, create community, build things. If you have that white, you're either a projector, manifestor, or reflector. And what that means is you are actually guided in a different energy way. So projectors are not really designed to work 20 like regular 9 to 5. They work 4 hours and need to rest the rest of the time. Manifestors are very quick. They need to take a nap. A reflector takes in everyone's energy and seeds everything, and they have to wait like a cycle of 28 days, which I'll go into the decision making afterwards. Um,
Oh.
yeah, there's a lot. I'm giving you a lot. I hope that's okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Continue.
And then the last one is the root center. So that's home, groundedness, security, and safety. If that is undefined, then you most likely are either really late to things or really early to things because your timing is off and you put yourself under so much pressure to get everything done. That to-do list is like ridiculous and you'll never let yourself rest. So the reason I focus more so on the white area and rather than the defined, because when it's colored in, it's called defined. The reason I said if it's white for the sacred for all of the centers is because that is where most of our conditioning comes from, because we experience it based on who we're around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the thing about making decisions, there's 5 energy types. There's a manifesting generator, projector, manifestor, and a reflector. We're all designed to be in our energy type and make decisions that are aligned with our energy type. And we call it an experiment because we're not going to project onto anyone, this is the correct way, right?
Mm.
But if you experiment with something and then try it out or try it on, like I like to say, then things start happening and you're like, well, that makes sense. So this does feel really in alignment with me. I feel better. I'm not forcing as much. I'm resting more. So it's an experiment. So,
Mm.
uh, do you happen to know what type you are?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you'll have to go to my website and like do the free chart.
Okay, okay.
So there's the manifesting generator and generator types. Basically, I'm a Manny-Gen. Basically, we're designed to wait and respond. So what that means is we get to create, be creative, do whatever we love. And then when things show up in the external world, like someone reaches out to you for a podcast or someone reaches out to you to go do a reading or whatever it is, then you respond in that moment if it feels exciting to you or obligation or an expectation. Now, if it feels exciting, that's a yes. But if it's out of obligation or expectation or you should, it's a no. Even if like say a person's just starting their business and they're wanting to do readings or do an event and someone comes to them and says something and the first feeling was like, "Oh, I really don't want to do that, but I'll do it because it's my first reading and I really need to get out there."
Yeah.
It's truly listening to your gut response, and there's refinement, but it's listening to that response and saying no, even if your mind is saying, "Oh, it would be a good idea," right? And that's where
Mm.
we actually mess up a lot because our mind likes to take over.
Yeah.
And then, so it's waiting to respond in the external world, external signs. And the reason why it's in the external world for Gens and generators is because we're here to create in the physical form, right? Um, the projector is kind of like a managerial type of individual. They oversee others' energies more than they see them themselves. So for them, it's important to wait to be invited and recognized. So someone to recognize them for their genius and wait to be invited and then ask yourself, does this feel good to me? And then make that decision. The projectors have a harder time than the manifesting generators and generators because projectors really need to have a lot of self care. They need a lot of
Mm.
alone time. Um, they need to be taking care of themselves, I like to say, to be able to get invitations. Otherwise, you don't get them. And then what happens is they get into the not self, which then is bitterness. They get bitter that they're not seen or valued. Um,
Oh.
the generator type gets frustrated when they're out of alignment, and the manifesting generator gets angry and frustrated. So you can always kind of like, if you know your type and then you feel like you're angry and frustrated, then I know I'm living out of alignment in some way because I'm reacting in that way. So that's another way that you can step back and ask yourself, am I doing too much? Am I forcing? Then we have the manifester, which is basically the sprinter. I like to say they receive downloads, and if it feels like it's a good for them, they say yes, they do it, but then they need to rest usually. So it's like the sprinter. They have all this energy and all of a sudden they're done, and they actually need support, especially in the business world or family life. They need that extra support of others because they need to rest. And then the reflector, that means, so I told you about all the centers. Some of them are defined and some of them are undefined. A reflector has all their centers white. So everything white. They still have hanging gates, but that means they kind of seed everyone's energy. And if they're not happy, that means the environment that they're in is not healthy. So they're kind of
Mm.
like the mirror of where they're at. And that's why I love understanding the types. There's so many reasons other than that, but understanding the types so that we recognize how we're designed to make decisions, trying it on and seeing how it feels. And
Yeah.
I've been living this way for probably 6 years now. And I will say, when you create a life that you think that you want based on conditioning, and then you start doing things differently, you lose everything
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you weren't really happy, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
but
know
I
all
will.
about that.
Do you? Oh.
Been there, done that, girl.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, you start to readjust and you get to have the life that you truly wanted, but you didn't know that you wanted because you've been
Yeah.
living within, like, what people tell you that a life should look like.
Absolutely. From your description alone, like I feel like I am probably in the manifesting generator. Like I don't know, I could be wrong, but just from your description, because I feel like that's how I respond to things.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So like I guess it would be something similar. Would it be something similar to astrology whereby you're using your birthday and like how does it
Time.
work? Time and everything?
Yep, it's and astrology is actually part of it. That's another layer that people can go into, which I love to go into. Because it is based on the placement of the planets, the energy and the archetypes of what each planet is, right? You know, like the sun is what you're here to be and give to the world. The earth is what grounds you. We know Mercury is like communication. So we understand kind of that, or a lot of people may or may not. But each planet has an archetype, and it is based on where those planets are located at the time of your birth. And then it goes into another archetype, which it brings in the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching, the 64 gates. So each gate has an archetype. So when you look at your chart, you have a gate number, a gate line. So it's like, let's say for mine, 48.2 in Libra. So I know the 48 is all about depth, wisdom, perseverance, the shadows, and adequacy. The line 2 is I need to hermit away. And then it's in Libra, which is the balance of relationships. So I understand a lot of what I'm here to be when I'm in alignment is based on that. And then it goes down the line on 13 unconscious and conscious activations. So that's where you can get very specific, and a lot of people get overwhelmed. But I always start with type, strategy, authority, then profile and centers, deconditioning, and then bringing the other things in.
That sounds good. That sounds
Mhm.
really good. So, I mean, like for example, how have you I guess how have you used this to create the life that you want? Like knowing that you're a manifesting generator and what that means for you, how do you then implement that into your life?
Well, I try, and it's hard. I always try to respond rather than to initiate and start things. Manny Jen, sometimes we can initiate because we have lots of energy and we have the things that we want to do, but they usually don't feel easy and they usually are harder. It's not that we can't make them happen, we can, but it's a lot of work. And if we're trying to create a life that is with ease, have space and time for whatever it is that you enjoy, plus be of service to the world in some capacity while you're making money, like all of those things together, it's about trusting the strategy. So I try to wait to respond to things in the external world. I follow my gut when something feels exciting or when something doesn't. I do have. Oh, I forgot to go into the will center. So there's another center. It's a little triangle called the will, heart, or ego, and that is about willpower. So I have that defined. So what that means is I'm able to push through with will a lot of the times. For those that don't have it defined, uh, it's consistency and like working out and like regimented things can be very hard. So a lot of people with that undefined, they're like get on themselves about not being able to be consistent when in reality it's because they don't really want to do it. So they don't have the willpower to do it because it's variable energy, right?
Yeah.
So I have that defined. So I always ask myself, am I doing this because I can, or am I doing this because it is exciting to me and I want to? And then
Yeah.
I readjust. If it's out of expectation or obligation, I don't do it. So, boundaries, saying no to things that don't light you up, even though could be beneficial. Um, I also know for me, I'm going a little bit into the specifics. Like the root is connected to my spleen, which means I need energy. I need to work out, be physically active to release things from my body. Um, I follow my profile lines, which is a 2-4, which I love the profile lines. It kind of shows you how to. It's so funny because it's like following. It's like a blueprint of your life and how so you can have ease, right? And if it
Yeah.
feels good, yeah. Um, so the 2-4 is all about hermiting away, being by yourself, integrating. So I always have early practices by myself. I don't start early in the day. I do my journaling, I do my breath work, I read whatever it is I want to do. I make sure I work out. And then I make sure that I get out into the world to connect with people because the 4 line is all about opportunities and networking through meeting people. So I live within that and I ask myself, am I been out and about too much or am I hermiting too much? So I always readjust. The thing I love about human design is you get to go into the specifics if you want to, but then you also can just be strategy and authority and profile, and then that's it. You know, um, I definitely have created a life a lot different than I used to live based on following these things that feel really good to me.
That's beautiful. That is
Mm.
so cool. So, so the human design, it includes astrology. So I guess there wouldn't be a need, or I don't know, for you to kind of like do astrology separately from that. How does that work?
Yeah, when I go, like some people know some about human design, but they don't know the depth. So then sometimes I do deeper readings with people where I bring in this is like getting very detailed, but like there's 13 um, unconscious gates and 13 conscious gates. Within those gates, like I said, each one is an astrology sign. So what I do is I pull up that chart and I go into the archetypes of the gate and the astrology so that they understand. Like for me, my Mercury, I know is in gate 28, which is all about challenge, struggle. I'm here to talk about that, shadow aspects, and it's in Scorpio. So I'm here to like poke and provoke and maybe make people uncomfortable with some of the things that I talk about. And for so long, I knew that intuitively, but I felt like I had to suppress it because I'd make people uncomfortable. And then I would feel like something's wrong with me. When in reality, I'm supposed to be doing that. And those people that love that are the people that want to work with me. The people that don't love that are the people that work with someone else. So when you go into those different astrology aspects, it's like fine tuning, like I also know in my earth gate, I have the 21, which is all about it's all about control. So I definitely knew when I controlled things in my past, that was the shadow. That's where the gene key comes in. Um, in the gift, it's perseverance or authority. So it's more so not controlling, but trusting in your authority. And it's in Aries. So it's like being bold, being out there. Whereas if it was in Cancer, then I'd know to be softer or gentler. And the thing is these are all things that when you go into it, I felt like I already knew, but conditioning of societal norms, family expectations, who you've worked with, or whatever, has told me, oh, that's too much. Or the way that you're saying that is too blunt. Or, something, how could you treat a person like that? But even if I was saying it with love. So it gives me the permission to be okay if people can't handle it because I know for a fact and it feels right. That's the thing. It feels
Yeah.
right. So I know it's okay. I'm provoking people in a certain way, and it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It means that we're not in the right frequency together, and I still love you, and that's okay.
Exactly. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. Imagine how life could be if we all knew our human design,
Hmm.
right? And implement that. That sounds amazing. I'm gonna do my chart on your website.
Good, good. And I do feel that way too. I feel like with each one of the types, we're actually here to support one another and uplift one another, not
Yeah.
compete. So if we understand, like for a projector, if we understand they are actually not designed to work 9 to 5, but they oversee energies, let them do that and let them rest. If a generator type is excited about something and they work 2 days straight because it's exciting them, let them do that. It gives us permission to support one another rather than judge or compare ourselves to one another. And it's wonderful in relationships because of that too. Because I'm able, like with my partner, I'm able to see where we're so different, and even though we butt heads, I can see why. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to change your mind and you're not going to change my mind. So let's just disagree or just agree to disagree and let it go and let us be who we are. Like, not the conditional love of what we think that we want you to be to make me feel good, but the love, the unconditional love of loving you for who you are and you loving me for who I am. So it gives that too with relationships. And it's helped me so much with my daughter. So much.
Wow.
Mhm.
Amazing.
My daughter told me the
Wow.
best thing. I love this. It was like a huge turning point. She's 14 now. And at age
Mine
12,
too.
oh, really? Oh, that's good. So I don't know how your phase of 14 is going. 12 was harder from us.
She's pretty chill.
Oh,
She's
that's
pretty
good.
chill.
That's
How
good.
about you?
She, like, I know by her chart, she's a generator. She's very open, meaning she only has 3 centers out of the 9 colored in. So that means she takes in a lot of people's energy. So I really have to make decisions on the right people that are aligned for her to be around, because I notice her shift in how she is. So I am very blunt with her when people are not respecting her, and act like, stand up for yourself. It doesn't matter if they like your hair or not. If you like it, like so I'm using it as a tool so that she can love herself and be bold in that. And she told me the best thing, and she told me that I'm the only one that really gets her. So I was like,
Oh,
yeah. Hmm. So it's like, okay, when I think about it, if I didn't know her chart, I would have done things really different,
oh
really
my
different.
goodness. I need to get my chart done for my daughter too.
Yeah, definitely get your daughters too. It's she like will tune into some of it. But one of the biggest is like she has an open throat. And like I said, that means like variable energy. So sometimes people wouldn't hear her. So when she goes in big groups, people talk over her. They don't hear her. She would say, "No one listens to me. No one hears me." When she's even within our family, she would be really loud to be heard, but no one would hear her. So I had to explain that to her. And she still goes back to that. She still goes back to like, well, I do better in small groups. I do better because they're like, oh, they don't know I have an open throat. And I was like, okay. But you can see, if I didn't explain that to her, she could easily make that belief. No one values her, no one sees her, no one hears her, no one loves
True.
her, right?
True.
But because she has that awareness, she's not making that judgment about herself. She's trying to adjust the way that she is in her relationships and her friendships.
That's amazing. That's an amazing tool to pass down to her so that she understands herself more and the way that she shows up and how the world also responds to her. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely need to check that out because teenage years, it's not easy. They go through so much. So when they leave home, so much happens. It's a whole different world out there. So yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's definitely helpful, so that when they know that maybe when they experience the world not responding to them in a certain way, they don't take it too personally. And then it doesn't become, a limiting belief.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get that. Awesome. So you mentioned the gene keys and you're talking about the masculine and feminine energy. So you're saying from your perspective that you feel like the gene keys are more like now the more feminine um perspective or tool that you can also use side by side with human design. I'd love for you to get into the gene keys, like kind of introduce us. I've heard about it, but I don't know too deeply about how it works. So I'd love for you to get into that. And also we can get into like the whole masculine, feminine energy of it that you were talking about earlier.
Hmm. The gene keys are so Richard Rudd got the download of the gene keys. He worked with Ra Uruhu, which is the person that received all the information during the supernova in 1987. He received all the information about human design. So there's 64 gates in human design. There's 64 gene keys. Richard worked with Ra Uruhu. Now his Ra had the 51 in his conscious sun, which is the energy he's here to give the world, right? The 51 is all about shock. So he was here to shock people into awakening with what he downloaded, received. So a lot of the wording that he uses is very shocking. Like some people don't like the words that he uses, or they get like I don't know, it feels very controlled, or just not nice. But he was
Yeah.
here to do that. He was here to awaken. Richard then has gone into the deeper levels of the gene keys or the activations within the cellular DNA. So he's connected like what the 64, like where it's associated in the body, what is it associated with a protein? Is it so he goes into the body and it's more subtle. It's more contemplative. So with him, let's say my conscious sun is 48 in human design. Within the sequence, the activation sequence in the gene keys, my life's work is 49. So they're connected, they're correlated together. Now, I didn't realize that my shadow was inadequacy. My gift was, I think it's perseverance, and then the city, the highest level, is depth or wellness or wisdom.
Mm.
So I got that from Richard Rudd. He goes into the three frequencies of how we experience a gate and how we don't get rid of one frequency. All we do is fluctuate between usually the gift and the shadow. Because when we're stressed, we go into the shadow. When we're kind of in alignment, we're in the gift. And only bits and pieces of time do we step into the city, the highest expression. Like with Buddha and all that, it's like enlightenment, you're not there all the time, right?
Yeah.
You're only there like a moment, you know? So that is what the gene keys are. It brings you to more contemplative, where you sit back and reflect. Oh, I'm right now in inadequacy. This is me out of alignment. What's going on? Am I forcing? Am I comparing myself? Am I not resting enough? What is going on where I can step back into the perseverance or the wisdom? So it's more of a sitting back, witnessing what's happening, where you're at in the frequency of the activation, so that you can readjust so you're more on the gift level. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Like I can see now because, when you introduced yourself and you spoke about, authenticity, when you have these tools and you can combine that and understand where you sit in all of this, in your astrology, in your human design, and your activations, then you are better equipped to show up well and sometimes just chill out as well. You know when it's time for you to chill out and you know how best to show up. So That is amazing. Instead, as you said, of relying on what we're conditioned to do or how we're conditioned to think.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, please continue. I totally interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. That's basically the Gene Keys goes into those aspects, and the Gene Keys has he just created a new sequence that I'm currently like in right now, but he has the activation sequence, which is connected to it's the same gate activations in the incarnation cross in human design. So it's the top two unconscious and the top two conscious. That's called the activation sequence. It's like your life's work in the Gene Keys. Then there's the Venus sequence, which is amazing. That is where I did most of my work because it has to do with the way that we experience ourselves in relationships. And the Gene Keys activations were activated when you're actually in your mother's womb with the Venus sequence.
Oh.
So it's basically the astrological signs of when you're in gestation, right? So, like the purpose, the Venus sequence has the purpose sphere, the attraction sphere, the IQ, which is the intellectual, the emotional, the spiritual, and then the core wound. And all of those are core wounds that were imprinted into your cellular DNA while you were in your mother's womb. So, all of these things, it's not like you can protect your daughter from experiencing them, it's
Mhm.
within the DNA. So, it's being able to support them, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it's, I know, because we want to protect, right? It's like, oh, I know, like the
Right.
big
Right. Exactly. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one huge awareness for me was huge. The 38 is in my purpose sphere, in relationships and overall purpose. Um, it is the sphere of fighting for things that you believe in. In the lowest expression, it's fighting against the world,
Yes.
right? Which is what I did when I was younger. And when I was really, because what I do is I step into the activation of the sphere and I will study it for a month and reflect on it, journal on it, connect with it. When I was doing that for the sphere, I realized that because I was being in the low frequency of when I was younger, I have been in like two domestic violence relationships, really bad. I
Mm.
was actually attracting that because of who I was being, because I was attracting that fighter aspect, me against the world, me against this person, me against this. So I remember when I was reading that, it was just like in my gut, I just felt it. And then I started crying because it was like, that is why I've had those relationships. It was my energy that I was being like, it was me to learn through those relationships. So it gives you forgiveness on some of the things that you've done or witnessed or been a part of in life, because then you actually are able to understand why it happened. It didn't happen because you didn't know yourself, or well, I guess it would be you didn't know yourself, but it wouldn't be happening because it was your
Technically.
fault. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it gave me. So all of the activations in the Venus sequence, I connect with a lot because it is about how you view yourself, your relationships with your partner, out with wealth, with the world, with everything. So it gives you that awareness. And then after that, you have the pearl sequence, which is all about prosperity and how you feel prosperous, because we actually all feel prosperous differently. And that was a huge thing for me too. For me, the one pearl, it's called the pearl in the pearl sequence. There's four, but the one
Mm.
pearl is gate 37, line 4 in Pisces. So depth and emotion, depth again. Because it's water. I always receive my downloads in the shower, in the bath, in the water. Line 4 is charity. It's being of service for humanity. And then the 37 is about being that mother archetype for humanity itself, like that tough mother pushing people into transformation. So that's what makes me prosperous. That's what makes me feel good. But everyone is different. And that was a magic, little piece of magic for me, because we think of prosperous as like money or whatever it is, but it's really the way that we feel and experience life.
Wow. That is beautiful. I love the way that you broke everything down. I was just like taking it all in. Yeah, because it gives such a perfect understanding of what's going on and how you can use this in different areas of your life, right? In so many areas for so many reasons, you can begin to understand yourself on so many different levels. And then you get to kind of like decide how you can show up in a way that is more in alignment
Mm-hmm.
by using that information. That's really fascinating. I've definitely heard about it before, but I haven't went so deep into human design and gene keys. It's been something that I've been interested in for some time, but yeah, like I haven't like really delved into it. So like this has been like such an amazing wealth of information that you just provided me with. Thank you so much. I know that you have some programs and things like that. So can you describe for me like some of what you're doing with your work?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for letting me talk, because sometimes I feel like, oh, it's too much, like too much,
No,
too
I
deep.
love it. It's very informative, it's very informative. And I'm sure people who are listening, like you throwing out human designs and gene keys, some people don't know what it is, or maybe they heard about it, but they don't really understand how deep it goes and how it can help you literally in so many different intricate areas of your life. So I think it's really important that you did that. So yeah, I'm
Mm.
cool with just sitting back and receiving. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And that is it. It's like, wherever you're struggling in life, it truly can support you in that in some way, right? Um, so, how to work with me? Things are shifting. So, first of all, I created an oracle deck. It's called Dancing with Shadows and Stillness. And of course, it's like, I didn't even mean to name it that. And then when I went into my chart, I was like, well, of course it's stillness and dancing. Like the 2 line is dance and the stillness is the 52. Of course I did that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Um, but what I've done with that deck is you can use it in 2 ways. You can use it like a divination deck where you just pull a card, look at the energy, read about it in the book, and use it for self reflection on whatever shows up for you that day. Or I have created it in a way for 2 reasons, and one is like for you, and one is for me, because I like to go so deep into things with sessions. And I found that I was having sessions that were just all like the basics, right? And I want to go into like the conditioning and all the things. So what I've done with the deck is, if you get the deck, you get the PDF for the guidebook. You get like a mini course on what is entailed in each picture, why I created it that way. The guidebook is more so a manual, because the manual I have connected to each one of the human design and gene keys and astrology gates. So within the guidebook, you'll say, oh, the 41's in Libra or 48's in Libra. It is in this circuitry and whatever. So it gives you all of the information. So what you can do is use it with your chart. So you can print out your chart and then use the guidebook and the pictures for the deck and use it as a way to look down like the side of the chart. So 48, 12, 13. You pull out the 48, the 12, the 13, you look at the energies, and then you can read it. So you can learn about your chart, learn about your energies, learn about the shadows that show up for you. And I'm actually in the middle of creating a course that will teach about like what the sun means, the earth means, and the north node, south node, so that you really can use the journal aspects to learn about the chart. So I'm in the middle of that. And then I do liberate your voice sessions, and then resonance mapping sessions for one-on-one sessions. And basically that's kind of like the intro. um, the liberate your voice has to do with suppression of voice and where you have swallowed down your words, people pleased, all of those things. And I get to help you understand why. And through the lens of human design
Yeah.
and gene keys, why that's happening, where it's happening, and what you can do to readjust it. And then the resonance mapping session, I go into human design, gene keys, and a little bit of my new study, which is amazing, the galactic realm. So I've been doing galactic astrology, which goes into like aliens and stuff like that. So if you're into that, it goes into incarnating and like Lyra, like say you were incarnated first there or whatever. So I do a lens of that, of like understanding what galactic realms you have in your chart as well through galactic astrology, because that's my new study that I've been adding in. I feel like it's more of a remembering. And then the human design and gene keys are more of like in this life right now, in the embodiment of this life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me more about the galactic astrology. I know about the whole galactic stuff that's happening, all the conversations, and where we might have been from prior to incarnating here on Earth. But I've never heard of galactic astrology. I know that there are galactic readings, Akashic record readings, all of that, but
Yeah.
galactic astrology, tell me more about that.
It's so funny because I bought the certification like 2 years ago and I started studying it, and I got into studying the reptilians and aliens, and I was like, this is scary. I don't really want to do this right now. So I put it away. And then I got COVID in May. And every time I end up getting COVID, it's like something shows up for me. So
Yeah.
I ended up studying for 2.5 weeks and doing the certification. And what it does is it brings in the astrology aspects of the fixed stars. So it brings in the galactic center, and it brings in the galactic attractor, and where Sagittarius lines up there, where Libra lines up there. So it brings into the astrology of how it is connected to like Orion, all of the fixed stars. And because if you have a sextile or a trine or whatever it is with that fixed star, then it helps you in understanding, okay, you had a lifetime there and this is what it was. So it brings in, some people do sidereal, which is like the Vedic, and that's fixed stars. And I was really looking into that. But then when I found galactic, I was like, oh, this is even, it's the overarching lens of like where we're originally from, so that we can bring it into this life, so that we can embody, like, so for me, um, basically I found out I have a lot, my Sagittarius, which is my north node, is conjunct the galactic attractor, which is a magnetic force, or drawing in the people that are right for me, drawing in the people that to be able to guide, drawing in. So I have a lot of magnetism in that way, and my north node is what I'm here to do in this life. So understanding that, it's like I know I'm here to talk about what I'm learning, my philosophy, be that teacher, that guide, and attract the people that I'm supposed to attract. It also showed me that I was originally incarnated on Lyra, which was basically the sound before sound. It's basically people. I'm always looking for that connection with someone, because I have felt that wholeness. Like
Yeah.
Lyra felt that. So the duality and separation really hurts, and it has to do
Mm.
with sound and music, which I love. Dance has always been something that I've loved. I love to dance. I love music. I've always loved chanting and all of that. So it brings in that awareness of the tribal, ancestral chanting. So it gave me, when I studied it, it felt like I was remembering. Whereas sometimes before, when I was ready, I was like, this isn't true. But when I studied it in that point in time, it felt like, oh my gosh, this feels so good, and it feels like it is correct. There was no doubt for me that these things that I was finding out were in fact my past. Like, I went to Egypt a couple years ago. I ended up getting COVID in Egypt. I was, I know, I was kind of exiled from the group. I had to wear double masks, get my own car. Like, we were doing a pilgrimage from like one airplane to one airplane, and I couldn't do that. They were trying to get me on a train, which was dangerous, in a car. And I was like, it was intense. And then when I did my chart, it specified to me that I had a past life in Egypt. And when I went there, it was probably an awakening. And I was actually exiled for what yes. So I was reliving that.
That's insane.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps when I said it too. And it was so funny because, like, during the experience, everyone was like, oh, you have so much grace during this. Like, you're doing wonderful. You have so much grace, and the way that you're handling this. And I remember I was projecting onto the person that brought us there, like, abandonment issues and all of these things. And I was doing all of this work. And I had had sciatica for a whole year. I couldn't even walk before then. And I was nervous I wasn't going to go. And on the Nile, when I was there, I had the first day of COVID. I stood up from my bed with no pain. Like, there was something there that switched everything for me. And when people ask me why I was going initially, I would always say, I have no idea. I have no idea why I said yes. I have no idea why I'm going. It's funny because I was going to share a room with someone, and it came up 3 times. Oh, this person backed out. Do you want to pay the extra for your own room? And I was like, no, I want to have the experience. Want to have the experience. Finally, the last time, I was like, this single room keeps showing up for me for a reason. So I'm going to say yes. And that was because I was going to have COVID. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it was life changing. It was insane. So,
Wow.
galactic astrology for me, and I'm hoping for a lot of people, will help you remember. Um, I only seed it in things because I feel like a lot of people aren't ready for that yet. Um, in my chart, it only shows I'm always ahead of the time. So I seed it in my things in case people are ready, but I don't overly put that out there I don't want to scare people off of it either. So I'll
Mm.
see things. And that's with the resonance mapping session. I kind of see like where you're from. I give you like a chant or like a story to read about yourself through the lens of galactic so that you can remember. I connect it with human design and gene keys so you can bring it into this world, into this embodiment. So that's the resonance mapping. So that's really what I've been focusing on, the one-on-one, and then the cards I've been focusing on and creating that program so people can do it on their own as well.
That's beautiful. I think the way that you kind of bring everything together is a really beautiful way to help people through a lot of the questions they have for themselves and their lives. So yeah, and then people get to choose what resonates with them. So I
Yeah.
think that's great. That's perfect. I just have one last question for you because we've mentioned the shadow a few times throughout this episode, and I'd love for you to talk a bit about the importance of the shadow and what
Mm.
it's here to teach us.
I love this question because I love shadows. I love them so much. A lot of people don't like the shadows. They think that something's wrong with them, or there's something that you want to get rid of, or it's the not good part of you, right?
Yeah.
Which I used to. Um, Going into understanding which activations in my human design, I was able to go then into the chart and actually see what shadows show up for me. Shadows, I feel like, are honestly a gift because anytime a shadow shows up, especially if you understand it in a way of like, okay, this is what I'm here to learn through, this is how I'm here to experience life, it's not something I'm ever going to get rid of. Like, if a person has, like, inadequacy is my biggest one. It shows up in my sequence in the gene keys 3 times, and then it's also my sun. So it's like this inadequacy of not being good enough, not knowing enough, really drove me all of my life into learning more, making sure I was like getting good grades, like in college, making me really try to find myself. Like nothing was ever enough, right?
Yeah.
But then as soon as I learned that, I realized that it's not that I'm ever going to stop learning. It's the energy of how I do it. So now I like to learn galactic astrology, not because I have to better myself and understand and heal myself, but more so like so I can feel into it, see what happens. And then if I give it to the world, great. And if I don't, great. There's no like this fear grasping aspect that that shadows give us. So when you understand your shadows, you can embrace them more and understand, okay, I'm out of alignment. I'm forcing things. I'm comparing myself. I haven't even thought about my relationship. So like my shadow for attraction, my attraction sphere is, I'm trying to think, I think it's psychosis. Like that is my shadow where you just get so stuck, you know? And in the line, this is going to be kind of personal, but it goes into the line aspect as well in the gene keys, and the lines in the gene keys, whoever's looking at gene keys, the lines are amazing. Um, that's the decimal point after the gate. So the line is line 4, I believe, or maybe 3, and the shadow of that line is promiscuity. And the gift, the higher frequency, is playfulness.
Mm.
So I understood then promiscuity, being promiscuous, doing all the things when I was younger was what I was attracting. And
Yeah.
now it's more so out of playfulness, like stepping into playfulness, not seriousness, playfulness. So it gives you the awareness of the energy shift and gives you awareness of like forgiving, like I said before, forgiving yourself for some of the past. Um, the shadows will never go away. So if you feel like you want a certain shadow that you've had all of your life to go away, you're only loving yourself conditionally because that is a
Yeah.
shadow that is there for you. So use it in a way to understand yourself and where you're at, whether it's in relationships, in business, wherever you're comparing yourself. That's why
Yeah.
the shadows, I just want to say, learn to love your shadows, embrace your shadows, and see them as a gift of readjustment.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for getting into that. That's, yeah, I can definitely see that, how that works,
Mhm.
right? The shadow aspect and the gift aspect of that. And it's true, you can't get rid of something. You kind of just learn how to work with it and work through things. But it
Yep.
doesn't go away because it's there for a reason. It's there to teach you something,
Yeah.
right? And the more you know about it, the more that you can recognize it, acknowledge it, and actually work with that energy that's within you, then I guess you know how to manage, I guess, what those moments when you're leaning more into your shadow. You know
Mhm.
how not to get to that place because you're aware of it. So yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Miranda. This has been such a fun conversation. You provided so much information and I love it. Like, yeah, like I
Thank you.
absolutely enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't want you to hold back. So I was just cool sitting here and just listening to all of it. So thank you so much. I'd love for you to tell us where we can find you and your work and all the things.
Well, thank you. And thank you for holding the space for me to just say the things. Like I said, sometimes I feel like it's a lot, and I never know what the conversation is going to be like. So thank you for saying that because sometimes I do have conversations with people and it feels like their eyes glaze over and it's like, you don't have to remember everything. Just take what feels good, you know? Yeah, because we all start somewhere, you know?
Yes.
hmm Where you can find me is I spend most of my time on Instagram under Miranda J. Mitchell. And my website is miranda-mitchell.com. You can go there and get your free chart. You just scroll down and click on the purple button. You'll need your birth date, time, and place. I give you lots of information with that chart. So I click download for sure or take screenshots of it because I go into your strategy and authority and I give you a lot of information so that you can read into it and feel into it. Also, if you want to start studying, I recommend definitely the Oracle deck. That is a great way to get started to like learn about your gates. And like I said, I am creating a program that has journaling in it so that you'll be able to journal about each gate, what it means. And I'm even going to be adding a custom chat in there. So you'll be able to ask the chat your certain things about your gates. And then if you want to learn about galactic, definitely hit me up for the resonance mapping or liberate your voice. But those are the areas I like to spend my time. I also have a podcast. It is called Provoking Prosperity. And I
I love that.
and there's a reason. My unconscious son is the gate of provocation, provoking. So I'm here to provoke people. So I'm stepping into that.
Yes.
And I bring on creatives that are living in alignment with what truly lights them up rather than the conditioning of what society says you have to. And I do a fun thing. I actually run your chart, and the questions that I asked are based on what you do as well as your chart. So it's very interesting. The questions are always different. So if you're creative or you want to do that, also you can also listen to that. I've had some beautiful people in that space. Every time I get off a call, I'm like, I'm so lucky to just have met that person, you know? So you can always listen to that. And that's on all the platforms as well.
That sounds exciting. I love it. Thank you so much, Miranda. This was
Thank you.
fun.